So actually there was a basement window. It was almost 21 years ago, and I had an appointment. And well, I don't know why the key doesn't work. Okay, so my clients are there. They really like the house. By the way, they bought that house, and
they had to fix the window.
I was skinnier, and I was skinnier and younger. And I said, there is a window in the basement that I could get into. Just if there's no door to the upstairs, we're out of luck. Oh, and actually, I'm out of luck.
And then you're stuck in a basement.
And then we got in. Everything was fine, and they loved the house, and that was it.
That's insane.
The only other time I had the same thing, but it was from an agent that has a very sketchy reputation. And I'm there in the snow. 2 feet of snow had fallen. It's not shoveled. My buyers are obviously really motivated people. And what happens? Oh, wait, I actually didn't start the podcast. Oh, maybe one day.
Are we on a podcast?
We're on a podcast.
What are we doing here?
And we're on a podcast and we're live.
Oh, gosh.
So this is my camera.
I wish you told me. I didn't shave. I would have put on. I thought we were going to record a podcast. Yeah. And I've been recording podcasts for a long time, and we never got to video.
Oh, welcome to my world. If it's not on video, it's not a point.
No, you're right.
I'm the Real Ted G. This is the Real Ted G podcast, and you're joining us, and I have a special guest, Michael Ragosta.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. You actually sold one of my listings recently. It was such a nice, easy transaction. My client is still thanking me for it.
Oh, he was great.
He was. Lou was amazing.
I've never seen the homeowner leave gifts behind the way that.
Did he leave? And
a gift card for dinner and all this stuff. I love that they hit it off. It's always better when it goes that way, obviously. But one of the things that you said to me when we were going through that deal was every time I hear from you, it's good news.
Yeah, every time it was, hey, is the commitment in? Oh, actually, wait.
We're waiving the appraisal. We're doing this, that, and the other thing.
Oh, they're waiving it. I'm like, okay.
That's how it's supposed to be, though. And so, in this market, which is still, if you're asking me, I think it's still a seller's market. I'm sure we're going to get into that. But, that's how it should be. And you need to put together a team if you're going to compete in this. I have a reliable loan officer, a reliable attorney, and it should be all good news.
Yeah, well, not just that. You just have to be prepared.
Yeah.
I've seen agents send me an offer I've seen an agent take a picture of an offer. And I said, I'm not saying that everyone has to have a scanner or everyone has to have, we use .loop. But I don't know. Then deliver it. I don't know. Like I really think that taking a snapshot of a picture, no pre-approvals, nothing, and that offer is going to be less likely to get accepted.
Right.
One of my agents, he actually closed on his house last week. And the agent, he's a newer agent, so I said, Frank, here's what we're going to do. You're just going to learn .loop from the other side. I just .looped him and his fiance, and I was like, let's put everything together, get me your pre-approval, and I sent the agent this nice offer, told her this will be the smoothest transaction you're going to have all year.
Yeah. And
they closed, and she said, thank you, Ted, and you absolutely were right. This was the smoothest transaction.
That's great.
Well, I mean, I had a great buyer, great financing. It was all in place, great attorneys. And she said it made a difference. She told him directly. She said, your boss, he sent everything over. It's all the paperwork, all the disclosures, everything just so nice and easy. There's an old Greek phrase that says you can see what kind of day it's going to be from the morning. So a lot of times when you see a sloppy offer or a haphazard offer,
absolutely,
yeah, it's probably going to be a haphazard deal.
Yeah. I mean, you hear a lot of horror stories, from buyers and sellers and anybody who's ever dealt in real estate. And one of the things I try to, guarantee up front is that this is going to be a good thing. That we're like buying or selling a house should be a good, exciting thing. It usually indicates a life change that, we want this to be a positive experience. And, we're supposed to jump through the hoops to make that happen.
Well, on your transaction, my client thinks I made it all up because his daughter, I had just about 3 months earlier, I sold his daughter's place in the same complex. And someone else had told me that knew him. They're like, oh, no, you're dealing with my dad. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's been great from the appointment on. I said, oh, Lou, here's what we need to do. Price-wise, everything was nice and easy. And then the transaction to be, he's like, Ted, I can't believe this is so nice and simple. I said, it has to do with everyone involved. It doesn't have to, it doesn't have to do with me or you directly. but it's everyone involved. So it all worked out, and I mean, a
and
lot of times.
And now we know each other. This is great.
And you're in for a podcast that you apparently thought it wasn't going to be on video.
I mean,
And you also didn't know it was live. I mean, I'm not sure. We're attempting different things to grow the following.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's good. I need to be doing more of this. So I'm happy to be here and excited.
You think so? Because I hear my new agents always say things like that, and I keep telling them, no. You need to be doing more of what. Well, you're not a new agent, but let's pretend first year freshman. Get their license like 10 minutes ago, and it's like I got to do more of this. It's like wait a minute, I'm not sure. I think that maybe you should do more of what agents do in their first like 3 months. Prospect.
Sure.
But I'm not talking about. I'm talking about like the consensus out there.
Yeah.
So you used to podcast though, you said, right?
Yeah, I was in a full-time touring band for a long time and. Musician
for real estate?
No, yeah, for real estate. We were a real estate band. No, yeah, I was a musician for a long time.
So
and
my other theory gets proven writer and writer.
What's that theory?
In real estate, you come across a lot of people. It's amazing how many people wanted to be in some form of show business.
Yeah.
Some form of like
Yeah.
That's my headshot.
There you go.
It's only a 21-year-old headshot.
I
can still use it on my business card.
You're fantastic.
Oh, I saw so. Yeah.
So wait, what did you were?
I actually landed very few modeling gigs, commercials.
Really?
Yeah, and I never did Broadway, obviously.
Wow, I would have loved to do Broadway.
Yeah,
that was
it's a real acting. Yeah,
I would have loved to do all of that, but I mean, I was playing punk rock and stuff like that, and the same. We weren't doing the marketing. We were actually featured on CNN once with the dawn of YouTube, that we were doing these YouTube videos, and they were like, look at this weird thing that people are doing, and they used clips of what we were doing.
What were you doing? Because
we were doing this stupid thing called Band World, where we lived with our mascot, which was a whale, and it was just these 5-minute episodes that were just dumb jokes, and it was at the beginning though, and we're all still kind of doing it. I still get on stage a little bit. We played Great South Bay the other day. Oh, that's it. It's 2:20.
Oh.
I turned my phone off like a professional.
I'm going to tell you something. I may get a phone call. My mom is home alone.
She doesn't know. They tried to let us know,
I think I should say the shit out of me.
Yeah, no. That was exciting.
It's on your phone though.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking might happen, was that it might cut you off.
Listen,
it's still going.
Everyone. There's probably accidents outside right now.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
We're all going to be answering the phone.
But at least we all know what time it is.
Yeah, no, honey, it's nothing. So I don't watch the news.
Oh, okay.
Just so
Gotcha.
clear, I'm at a disadvantage.
You're happier than the rest of us. That's good.
I'm not just high because of all the incense we've been burning in here. So anyway, I can't believe that. I didn't know that about you. That you are actually in show business.
I was still doing a little bit. We're still going. And I actually at one point I took a month off of real estate, and I wrote a novel, and I'm all over the place.
I wrote a screenplay and I can't
No
find
way.
it. Yeah.
You what? You can't find it?
I know I have it somewhere.
Oh, okay. I got to get back to that second draft. I come from a creative family though. Like my sister and I both decided we were going to write a novel in 1 month, and she went back and did the second draft.
What was the novel about?
Mine, it doesn't matter. It was about a guy who went missing and the aftermath. But hers ended up getting published internationally, and I was buzz of movie stuff. My two brothers just won a People's Choice Award for Song of the Year last week.
What song?
For Need a Favor by Jelly Roll.
I know. I think I heard the song. God, I Need a Favor.
Yeah, they wrote that song.
I'm not like so behind.
Yeah, so it's we're all over the place. We're all trying to do something, but like real estate is exactly the same thing. It's the same. You just have to put yourself out there, and most of the job is just meeting people and who you can work with, people who just need to buy or sell a house.
So the real part of the job is how do you find all those people?
Right. So how do you find those people?
I actually, how did I find them in the first place? When I first started working in real estate, I prospected, and my specialty, I prospected the shit out of expired listings and FSBOs, for sale by owners.
Yeah.
And I obviously, when you do something long enough or you do something often enough, you get good at it.
Yeah.
So I obviously got good at it. I think that the best I was at it was in 2006. In 2006, I prospected expires and FSBOs almost exclusively, nonstop, for 6 months.
Wow.
And I believe I listed 45 of them.
Holy.
One I listed 2 years later.
Whoa.
So they do count.
Yeah, no,
They actually called.
It counts, I think.
It was a different market and they didn't
Yeah,
sell.
yeah.
And they said, Ted, we're finally ready to.
Those nurture
Now?
leads, it happened.
Remember that number I said?
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
anymore.
No,
yeah,
it
2 years
wasn't.
later.
It was the difference between 2006 and
Yeah, holy
2008.
crap. Yeah.
Think about what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I disagree with people who say that that's happening right now, though. Like, it's just not. It's not.
I'm in agreement with your disagreement.
I think that half the people you talk to on this island need to be talked off the ledge. I don't know if I don't know what it is, but
Well, that's so. I recently heard something that's really kind of cool to hear and say and repeat. It's not about knowing the dots. It's about connecting the dots for people. And there's real reasons 2008 cannot be repeated right now.
right.
I mean, we came off of the similarities between 2008 and 2023, I suppose. 23. Outrageous increase in property values. Yep. In 2004, one of my clients bought a house for $200,000, and I sold it from that buyer in 2005 for $100,000 more. Same exact house.
Wow.
So, and this is back when houses were only $300,000.
Right.
So anyway, that was absolutely the case. So that's a similarity. But the difference that I know, because I experienced it, were you selling houses in like 2005, 6, 7, 8?
No, I've been doing this for like 5-6 years.
Well, the biggest difference was the interest rates were 8%, but people were doing interest rate, adjustable arm loans.
Okay.
Yes, ARMs. And the interest rates were, so you would do interest-only loans, and the interest-only loan would reset. So at the time of the reset, if you had done it 3 years earlier, which people had been doing, the home had more equity, easily refinance it into the reset, reset. And what happened was the equity wasn't there in 2008. So the reset hurt people, and we had to get them out, which was when we were doing short sales and such.
Gotcha.
The banking industry collapsing wasn't a good thing either.
Right.
But the banking industry collapsed because everybody was buying a house with anywhere between zero money out of pocket to maybe 3% out of pocket.
Crazy.
With increasing the actual loan amount for closing costs. People were incorporating $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000 of closing costs into
I'm sure it's going to work out fine.
Yeah, it all did, right? Yeah, it worked out fine. Actually, 2008 was my best year.
Really?
Actually, no. I think there's somewhere in the
It
in
is
the later decade.
figuring out how to work in each market.
Well,
And
in 2008, I had to explain. I explained to at least, because I had a listing that had 180 showings. It had 36 offers on the table. It was a short sale, and it was one of the first short sales that I can remember. And I don't know if it was the first on Long Island, but it was a short sale on top of a pricing strategy, the aggressive pricing strategy. APS. Maybe I should call it that. Aggressive pricing strategy was like the house was worth about $260,000. $275 wasn't getting the job done. So what do? I'm like, let me try this. $199, and this is when nothing was on the market for $199. Okay. And I was in the Shirley market where affordability was key there. So $199. Everyone and their mother goes to that house. Everyone and their mother makes offers on that house, but everyone and their mother didn't know what a short sale was.
Right.
It was explained to me. I knew I knew how to do it, and I knew that what we would have to do with the bank, and then I had to explain it to I had to explain two things to agents, and this is the scary part. Bidding wars. Well, what do you mean the price is all the way up to $250? It's $199. My son's making it. I'm not kidding. I heard this. My son's making over $199. It should be accepted. I said, but I have offers of $250.
Like, no, that's insane. The dawn of that. That's crazy.
They have to explain that was one thing, but they have to explain a short sale was understandable.
Yeah, you're educating. I mean, whether it's,
people would have had to be in the business almost 15 years to know what a short sale was prior to that.
Wow.
So anyway. But that was 2008, and that's the difference here. People that bought in 2020, 2021, stop that squeaking. 2021, we're still putting down, like, people were guaranteeing appraisals because they could make up the difference. Cash was on hand.
So 5 6 years ago, we were doing that, the guaranteeing the appraisals, and I had attorneys chewing me out.
Attorneys still don't understand.
Being
the
like,
concept.
and having to explain it to them, and literally having to teach them. And now it's so commonplace. It's you have to do it. I mean, if you want,
and
right?
put money down. So now you
Right.
have 20% down
Well,
payments are the norm.
sometimes I gotta say, sometimes I'm telling agents on the other side to pull. I don't care about your down payment. Like get skin in the game. That's great, whatever. But I want to make sure that the number you're offering is the number we're getting. So pull back some of that cash and guarantee the appraisal. And I don't care. Like it's one of those things. I don't know why you're going to get so hung up on the down payment in certain situations if it doesn't matter. There's certain situations where obviously it's going to matter, but
Well, actually, it's interesting because like if you think about the nuances that exist in real estate, a 10% down payment transaction is actually can be considered stronger than a 20% down payment transaction. This was explained to me by several loan officers, but one loan officer, a friend, he said, yeah, but here's what happens. On a 20% down payment that the house doesn't appraise and you have to make up the difference, you could involve PMI, which can disqualify the loan from the buyer. Because now you're changing the loan terms and what they were qualified for, the monthly payment, the loan to the ratio,
Yeah.
So it's something to do with the front end or the back end ratios. I don't do mortgages.
Sure.
So a 10% down payment that doesn't appraise, doesn't change the 5% versus 10%, you're still going to pay PMI. Your terms are actually not drastically changed. Your monthly payment might go up $55, not $235. So that probably wouldn't push you over the threshold for. So oddly enough, that's where a lot of agents, like I may see a 20% down payment as, some agents say, oh, look, all this cash involved. Yeah, but if they don't have to use it because negotiations can happen on appraisal shorts. And then something else that was explained to me, which I keep always in mind. I'm like, if you make the 20% down payment non-refundable, now we're talking a different language.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it is. We do have to get so creative with the terms. So when you're working with buyers, it is still competitive. There's no inventory. We're still competing for most of these houses. So on top of putting the team together.
So you set up a team. So you're with a different type of franchise. So
right.
obviously I'm Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
And we're just a nice, normal 200. Nothing better than a 200-year-old company, but we're a very typical very typical real estate office, and the way we run things, it's very typical. Not the norm today, because other offices have changed, even within the same brand. But you're with a brand called EXP.
Yes.
Okay. And so is that like here, create your own office, create your own business?
I mean, I like it because I have freedom. I'm the freedom to succeed or fail on my own the way that I want to do it. At the other brokerages that I worked, and seeing how every agent does this job, I learned what kind of agent I don't want to be.
So tell me about this. You mentioned this earlier, and I'm so curious. You learned how you don't want to do real estate.
I became this real estate vigilante where I was just like, I just wanted to save people money. And like, I didn't agree with certain ways that people were doing certain things and taking advantage of people. It was the way that it looked to me.
Okay. Can you be specific?
No,
I'm curious.
No, I don't want to. I don't like to talk.
Off camera.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. But
all right.
But it's one of those things where
I'm with you. I like to save people money. I like to make people money.
Well, I like to sleep at night is my big thing. I like to be able to sleep at night. I like to feel like I'm actually helping people. The fact that we get paid at the end of this, it's like, oh, neat, cool. And my wife hates that about me. She wants obviously for me to be a little bit more, but I look at this as I'm here to help. Whatever I can do. I've mowed clients' lawns. Like, people need help. They need help. And I've worked with a lot of clients who needed help in a lot of unique ways. And so, we just rise to those occasions. And then I feel like I'm helping people. And then, oh, cool, we get paid. Neat.
I find that when I see agents where the money comes first, they're not the types of agents that I enjoy working with.
Right.
I actually, and listen, money has to be really close to first, because we all have bills to pay.
Right.
But
I've got kids.
Yeah. I have kids.
I've got two girls. a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
How long have you been married?
11 years or 10 years. 10 years. It's one. Yeah. It'll be 10 in October, actually.
Some of the feedback was that I have to seem more human.
Oh, sure. Sure. That was good. No, you looked human. It put me in a weird place. I was like, oh no.
Seem more human and
He's being
not
human.
robotic.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's good. That's good feedback.
Story of
You
my
had a
life.
great producer.
Yeah, he's a fun producer. He's
really
going
good.
all out today. We're like live. He increased my following by almost like 80 people in the last 24 hours.
Way to go, bud.
He's on it.
All right. Both of you.
But yeah, so tell me more about...
Yeah, so I mean, like, navigating this market and getting creative with those terms.
I'm curious about one thing.
Wait, what?
You mentioned something.
I'm sorry, what?
This is a long time ago. I do have a very good memory.
I can't even imagine what you're going to talk about.
We had a discussion on the phone. It was along the lines.
I know what
of
you're going to say.
You had just gotten the accepted offer on the condo, everything. Okay, something about you treat multiple offer situations differently than maybe what people are accustomed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Not to give away all my secrets, but yeah, when I was studying for my license, we are taught to do this job a very specific way. And it's what I'm learning is that it's norms that are not laws that are based on a totally different kind of market. In a seller's market, I treat it like eBay. Which is.
I've never bought anything on eBay.
Okay. I mean, so I disclose as much as I can. I disclose everything that I can find that's wrong with it. I can find, and I on eBay, you're taking close-up pictures of all the flaws.
Okay.
I'm going to let you know up front what you're walking into. Okay. If it's a hoarder house, we're showing pictures of the inside. You know what you're walking into. That is to avoid, if I tell you something during the walkthrough and then you bring it up at the inspection, it's like, yeah, we knew about this. You knew about this when you got into it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes that part of a negotiation easier.
That
where
light switch doesn't work.
Your inspection is for your own peace of mind. That's in any situation. This house we are not negotiating after you submit this offer for any reason. Any safety issue is one thing, but.
I always believe in latent defects. I'm not a mold expert. I'm not. I'm not a construction expert.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do know. In foundation cracks what's a okay crack and what's a bad crack.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is why we do inspections.
And crack is not okay, kid.
No, it's not.
Okay. So wait. Disclosure. So far, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay. So. What we're really supposed to do.
The state doesn't see anything wrong with that either because they're changing the law on property condition disclosure statements.
Right. So no, I'm not even not even to get into the property disclosures part. That's just where it starts. We're disclosing everything. So we're taught, you get offers, you keep them to yourself, you keep them a secret.
No, we're taught you cannot disclose without the seller's permission. See, a lot of people, I agree with you. You say,
and this is something that we do have to...
everything. With the seller's permission, you can disclose anything you want. Without the seller's permission, you cannot disclose an accepted offer.
Okay.
See, a lot of people don't realize that. So when I've disclosed, I'm curious about your system. Because I just do it like I've done it naturally. Like, if some, person has like a $500,000 offer, and I can disclose. I would love to just email it to them because sometimes they don't believe you, and they should know that I never bluff.
Yeah.
If I'm bluffing, I'm holding some other hand somewhere.
Right. So, I had this house. I took it to market, and it was a hoarder situation. It was a bad situation. We had 15 inches of water 15 minutes before our first open house in the basement. I mean, it was a nightmare from start to finish. We took it to market at $375. At the end of the weekend, all of the investors are outbid by people who actually want to live in the house, right?
Right.
So I've got 20 offers at $420 that are all identical. Every single one of them.
Okay.
And it was at $420. You're a child.
Apparently I am.
So every offer, and 20 offers, all identical, all the same price, same terms, everything. And I go to my client, I'm like, hey, is it all right if I start talking very openly about these offers and letting everybody who's making an appointment, I'm going to tell them exactly what we have and to not bother showing if you're not, this is
Yeah.
Can't compete with us. 24 hours later, we were at 480. And I've never done the job the same way since. Like, this is when I'm taking the listing, I'm explaining this is how we're going to proceed. If I have an offer, I want everybody in the world to know about it. I want you to know the terms. I want you to know what my seller's motivations are as far as what we're really looking for. Because it's not always offer price. It's we're finding the right buyer. We're finding the person who is whose terms match up, timelines, all of those things.
See, you're speaking when I don't know if you've no, I don't know if I know how to speak, but if you've ever encountered like real seasoned agents, and I don't mean that, I mean that like a seasoned agent that has been doing the business, growing in the business, and knows what they're doing. Like, there's a lot of agents out there, but there's a very few agents that are successful year after year after year after decade after decade. And they would do that. Like, if I called that person and said, listen, this person is buying this house because their mother lives around the corner. They will do and get anything done you want. Okay? Some agents can listen to that and say, I know that motivation trumps the resources almost. People, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you have the knack to pick that out, that's what you did.
Yeah.
You were able to get the person who's the most motivated. And appraisal shorts don't stop those people.
Yeah.
I want to call them nightmare deals, but they're not. If they
pro.
If they end with a check and everybody is smiling at least a year after, But I've had crazy appraisal shorts, and people still move forward because at the end of the day they wanted the house, not the price.
Right.
So I agree with you, and I agree with the disclosure. I would love to just put everyone in a mass email.
Well, there are times when I have to, if I'm working with a buyer, where I have to explain to the agent on the other side, it is in your client's best interest to just tell me what we have to do to get this house. Because we want it enough to give you what you need.
Which is along the lines of what you said to me.
Yeah. So
your buyers are motivated. Your buyers know the neighborhood. They know
we knew
exactly
we were buying
what they
that one no matter what. It was one of those things, and the fact that everybody hit it off along the way, like we were able to do. There were certain tools in our toolbox that. So Embrace Home Loans, who I work with a lot, Donnie Schultz is the best. They have this new program where they're guaranteeing the value when you're making the offer itself. So we're not concerned about the appraisal at all. And it sets your client's mind at ease. It sets my client's mind at ease. And if it ends up appraising less, Embrace picks up the difference. So it's like, it's unbelievable. It's so
nice
great.
loan.
They basically run it through their internal appraisal system, and it's been amazing. Like submitting an offer with that attached to it, it is such a game changer. It's just peace of mind. Yeah, you do. But again, when you're working with a great team, I'm CCing Donnie and Chelsea over there at Embrace on every offer I make.
I thought you were going to say Donnie and Marie.
You're aging yourself, but I got it.
I'm aging either way. I'm not doing it myself. Are any of these cameras on me? Oh, okay.
You got to make sure, though. You want to, we're not doing this for nothing.
I know. Could you imagine doing a whole thing?
Oh my God, we got to start over.
No, that shutter's closed. I can tell.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they are proactively, as soon as I'm sending that offer, they're getting on the phone and calling those agents. I don't know if Donnie talked to you, but he better have. No.
He never had to.
He never had to. Honestly.
You know why he didn't have to? Because the buck stopped there.
Yeah.
I called and said, "Oh, they haven't scheduled the appraisal. What's going on?"
Yeah.
You say, "Oh yeah, they waived it." Okay. So if you hadn't answered the phone, if you hadn't called me back, then I'm like, "Oh, let me call this guy Donnie."
See, but now I'm submitting the offer with that already attached to it. That we've already run this through our internal appraisal. We've already done it. So we're guaranteeing this offer that we're making. You can have total peace of mind, and you don't have to worry about the appraisal, even if it comes up short. I mean, if you're on the other side of that deal, it's pretty attractive, right? I mean, like that's pretty amazing. And you have to pick up these tools wherever you can find them. We do Monday morning meetings
Every Monday?
God, I wish. No, they never show up. No, I started a team, and you have no idea how often 5 minutes before that meeting it does get canceled. But when we do show up, it's just a Zoom call. We learn so much from each other, and I feel like even I'm leaving those meetings picking up a new tool every time. It's just something that somebody said, and you always got to just be paying attention when you're on the phone talking to these other agents. Every one of those phone calls should be a learning experience.
Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing what is out there for you to learn.
Yeah,
and I don't mean like take a class. I mean just doing
the job itself. Yeah,
interacting with agents. Like I was just curious about. You said we disclosed everything, and I was really curious because I actually don't mind that mindset at all on offers. I had we had property that was going way over the asking price, and the agent would call, and I had to accompany me or my co-agent would accompany, and say, listen, Babs, I have an offer, $525. You do? That's crazy. Okay, do you still want to show it? And it's like, please specifically tell your buyer. That would be the number or higher, right? No, they would show it, and then I would get an offer of they'll offer you $350 cash. I said, but if I said $525, why, first of all, I should call MLS and say, first of all, I shouldn't even be responsible for presenting this offer, but I do, because it only makes the $525 better.
Right.
But it's amazing how many agents just go forward. It's like I would at least tell my buyer, like, listen, they have higher offers. Don't even make an offer.
Yeah. No, I have a line that actually works way too often when
tell me that.
When I'm giving all my secrets away. I'll be on the phone and trying to get a number out of an agent, out of a seller, and they're not budging, and I go, I'm being friendly and I'm joking and I'm saying, blink twice if the number is blah blah blah, and they always do the same thing every single time. They laugh and they go blink blink, and I go, thank you, I'm submitting an offer, blah blah blah, and it's like, whoa, like, wasn't that, we had to just jump through a little hoop? Like,
it's so difficult. Like,
it's in your client's best interest. I want to give them more money.
Ask your seller, what's their magic number?
Yeah.
And let's see if we can do a magic
If I can do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's how motivated we are. And finding, working with people who are that motivated is one thing too. That's another thing is when you're working with a buyer who's actually going to buy a house. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. That's the vetting process.
Yeah,
I know. There used to be a sticker, like when I first started, we were taught to put people in our car to drive around, and I didn't have this sticker.
I have kids; it would be a disaster. It's so gross.
If you're in my car, you're buying a house or you're dying.
I like that. That's good.
Something like that.
That's
something
good.
like that. I don't know what it was, but
I
couldn't put a sticker in my car. I love that idea. Like, why can't we just disclose?
Well, you just have to adjust our way of thinking to the market. And, right now, the market is changing, and people are timid a little bit, some of them. But people are still buying houses, and there's no inventory. We're still having to get creative. It's just one of those things that we have to make these little adjustments. Right now, I'm finding that there is a little bit more meeting in the middle when it comes to the meeting of the minds taking place. All of a sudden, me submitting an offer that's contingent upon the sale of my client's home isn't the worst thing in the world. A year ago, we're putting those right at the bottom of the pile. It's just, I don't know how they ever succeed in the last few years.
I think
honestly,
it has to do with how good their agent is.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and that's true. And finding again those terms that the right buyer for the right seller.
Yeah, because recently I put together a deal for one of my agents. Her son is buying a condo, a very expensive condo, and it came down to the son was not willing to take out the contingency of his house sale.
Okay.
Because of certain circumstances, there was a variable there. Great buyer, like his buyer on his house is just beyond good. Commitment issued before they even did the home inspection. So it wasn't that; it was something a little different. And then the seller had gotten burned, not my seller, but he had gotten burned 3 times, not once, not twice, 3 times on contingencies.
Oh,
I was like, wow. I said, I understand. The agent, I said, I understand why you can't get this to fly. And then it came down to, and I don't know who the genius was, but I think it's the seller. It came down to the seller saying, well, okay, I'm willing to take out leave in the subject to the sale, but I want to cover my closing costs for the duration of the contract term, and his not closing costs, his carrying costs was about 10 grand. So, buyer is putting 100,000 on contract. 10, that's actually, I mean, it doesn't even sound like a lot anymore.
Yeah.
10,000 is non-refundable. That means if the other deal dies for whatever reason, or this buyer says I'm not buying the condo, he loses
gamble.
10 grand. He's
That's a good gamble to take.
it's a very nice. I would do it. I would do it like all the time now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, talk
That's
about
great.
like, but it was about that was the. It wasn't the seller wasn't saying no to subject to or the contingency. He was saying no to losing 10 grand in carrying costs.
Wow. It all comes down to motivations and priorities all the time.
Like my coach this morning at I go to Orange Theory. She had a question. She said this is my serious face, and here she is, like she's like a 30-year-old young lady. She's like talking like an old Italian woman. When are these house prices gonna ever go down? And I turned around and said, do you own? She's like, yeah. I'm like, she's like, oh, I don't like my actual street. She's actually on the backyard has a main road effect or something.
Okay.
And I said, just figure out what you guys want to do. Just figure out, do you want to move? If that's the goal, do you want to move to a different neighborhood? If that's the goal, that's all we focus on.
Yeah.
And then she said, I have a 3% interest rate. I said, who said anything about selling your house? Well, the 3% interest rate and the way the rents are, maybe they should keep it as an investment home.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a statistic through I believe it's through Case Shiller, and 59% of all homeowners would consider renting their house before selling it in order to buy a new one.
Really?
That means 59% of all homeowners are actually capable of buying, because if they had used a 20 or 25%,
yeah.
if you had used a 20 or 25% down payment and the home equity went up as well, you have more than enough equity to cover renting the house and not having it, show up on your ratios.
Yeah.
So there's so many other opportunities out there.
Yeah.
We have a shortage of inventory, but I think we have a shortage of explanations. There's so many things. I don't want to give up my house. I want to buy this one house it's the coolest house on Long Island. If I mention that house one more time, I get like 100 trifecta, no. So it's the coolest house on Long Island. You didn't make it to that open house, but you should have. Okay. Next time, I want it. I really would love it. It's really just a great house. But,
is it available?
Yeah, it's on the market with me.
Okay. Yeah. And you
Even
want to
better.
buy it? Okay.
Well, no. I'd love to. There's a difference between I want to buy it and I'd love to own it.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my biggest drawback was I can totally make it work by taking the equity, expelling all funds available to me in every way, shape, or form. And my biggest drawback is I'd like to keep my existing house. Not because I want to live in it, but because I like it.
Okay.
So some people should keep their existing houses because of the low interest rate
Sure,
that they
sure.
might have.
No, that
but
makes
there's
sense.
a lot of ways to leverage.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really about looking for the opportunities. Like this young lady, the coach, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to possibly list a house. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But more importantly, get them the house of their dreams.
Right.
So yeah. So I just think back to talking to people all the time. What details?
The house?
Oh.
The house.
No,
It's your
so
listing.
The house that's made for a prince. It's 21 Princess Gate.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's my favorite. It's one of my favorites.
Awesome.
I don't want to differentiate clients. Some of my clients are listening.
I gotcha.
So anyway, okay. So I got your secret to the disclosure thing, because when you explained it to me the first time, I totally thought you emailed everybody the offers, and I was like, "That's great."
No.
I loved it.
No, but I let you know what you're up against, and on the buyer side, when you're bidding against yourself, you don't know it. We try to avoid that. So
Well, I also believe that if someone says highest and best,
yeah.
it has to mean highest and best.
Okay.
And there's no highest and best, and then someone came back, and people should just
that
adhere to
does
their word.
at a certain point, even using this model, at a certain point, I let everybody know, hey, I'm cutting this off as of this time.
I think
and
homeowners,
at that point, it is highest and best.
I think homeowners should do a temporarily off the market for give 7 days even. You accept an offer, do temporarily off the market for 5 to 7
Just
days.
to negotiate.
No, not negotiating.
That's what he's saying.
Enough time for a buyer to get a home inspection done, lawyers to start talking.
We're supposed to, technically, right? I mean, aren't we supposed to go temporarily off market when we have an accepted offer?
I have no idea.
Because I don't, unless that's wrong, in which case I do.
Well, we are supposed to go temporarily off the market if
but
the
I
homeowner
continue
doesn't want to
showing
show
until
for
we're
3
in
days.
contract, you know? Like, I just to be safe, you know? I always advise that.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, so if I am, forget this
No, a
part.
lot of things are, what'd you say?
Well,
Things that are common
norms that aren't laws.
Norms
that
that
one
aren't
might
laws.
be a law, though. So, you know, I usually will put right on the listing, though, in the broker remarks. Once we have an accepted offer, I let them know what date we accepted an offer right in the broker remarks, and feel free to call. That's another thing I put in my broker remarks. When I take a listing, I put one of the only things in my broker remarks. Most everybody's, oh, this doesn't, blah, blah, blah. It's all technical stuff. I put, I'm here and happy to help. Feel free to call or text anytime. That's pretty much all I will put in the broker remarks, unless there's something that actual information that this person needs.
Well, I know the answer to this because I've called you and you've answered the phone. I was going to ask, do you answer your phone? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I fucking answered the phone.
If I'm on the other
sorry,
line,
am
I
allowed
want to
curse? I'm sorry.
Apparently we are.
I avoided it the whole time.
Yeah. No, I know. How many times do you call someone? You know how many times I've returned someone's call where they've said, "Oh, thanks for calling me back so fast." I'm like, okay. Yeah, fine.
No, you were always very easy to get in touch with. I mean, even the first time when I was trying to get into the house and I was being annoying. I knew what the deal was, and I was like, listen, I need to get into that house.
You knew what was going on. It was Saturday, and you weren't a liar.
Oh,
okay?
no, they left.
Yeah.
They weren't there for their inspection and everything.
In case anyone's wondering how you got your buyers in, your buyers were leaving for Vegas.
Yes.
And so, do you know how many times? I think I may or may not have told you this, but how many times I've said, "Okay, fine, yes, let's get these buyers in. They're leaving. They can't make the open house. That's not a problem. We'll still get the open house done." And how many times you do it? And then I'll be at the open house and the same buyers waltz in. I said, so your agent couldn't be here for the open house. You could.
Sure.
All right. So
Sure.
side note, you did not lie.
No, but that is another great point. If you are going to do what I do, the way that I do it, don't lie. Because it is going to get you nowhere.
Yep.
And I've worked with agents where the first showing in the door, they're telling this buyer that, oh, hey, let's heads up, we're way over ask already, so be aggressive. And they're the first showing, and I'm like, why are you like this? Like, this isn't like, people are going to pick up on that. And if you do the job honestly and ethically, you know, that's
reputation catches up.
It is the only way.
There is a reason
I don't to sleep at night.
I don't have to work for my food that much anymore. You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's a nice catch up. Reputation does catch up to you.
Yeah, I imagine that you're not paying for leads at this point in your career, are you? I mean,
I actually never paid for leads.
Never paid.
I paid for a lot of things, but it wasn't leads.
That's great. No, that's a big deal.
Honest.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Though.
No, I'm not to say that I'm not. I give a small little portion of money to Zillow because I like being a premier agent.
Sure.
Because they'll fix things for you.
Sure.
So I do. But when the amount I pay, I don't get any leads.
Yeah.
And
phone
I never had to.
ring.
Yeah. I never had to pay for leads. Anyway, do you?
I did for a minute, and I was on a team that was paying for leads.
That's what's going on. Teams are created to, and they want the goal of the team. I would join a team because somebody's promising me leads.
Sure.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I joined a team because I was a brand new agent who didn't know what they were doing. This was, going to hold my hand until I don't need this anymore type of thing.
I joined an office for that reason. I was a brand new agent.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Right now, I just started my own team. And it's not structured like any team that I know of. I don't take money that doesn't belong to me.
Today's teams are not structured like anything I've ever heard of.
Some of it's bizarre.
Yeah, I've done my homework. I had a team.
It turns into a lot of resentment. A lot of times, I've seen best friends at odds because of splits and things like that, where it's just like, guys, like if you know the money doesn't belong to you, don't take it. Like if you didn't do anything for this, don't take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just this very honest upfront, like I'm basically mentoring a bunch of new agents. And I'm not taking. They're basically there are these mentor programs where they're required to give 20% of their first 3 deals to these mentors, and a lot of times you'll talk to these agents and you're going, so have you ever spoken to your mentor? And they're like, no. I'm like,
Right.
okay.
And remember, you were the actual second person in 30 days that told me the same story.
Really?
Story.
Okay,
Yes.
so when I find those agents, I'm like, join my team. I'm going to hold your hand through whatever you need until you don't need me anymore. And again, I'm being that real estate vigilante again. EXP is going to be mad at me if they hear me talking about this. But I don't take this money. I'll help you bring your listing to market. I'll do whatever you want. If you want to bring me in, I'll get way more hands-on, and I'll be there for open houses and do all that stuff. But this is up to you. If you want to try and bring this to market yourself, I'll hold your hand through the whole thing. I'm not going to take money from you that I don't deserve. And in turn, we all get cross marketing, where I've got now an agent in Queens that I'm able to refer things back and forth. And it's just people working together. And every once in a while, Monday mornings, we're workshopping.
So your system can work on, I don't want to say the word virtual teams, but you're saying like you have an agent that's on your team that works the Queens market.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I could technically
see how
add
that
people
could
to
work.
my team who live in Florida or Italy. It doesn't matter. The way EXP works, it's global. So I buy a stock in EXP. I'm buying not in just one brokerage. I'm buying stock in all of EXP. So even when I close a deal, I actually pay a small percentage of each deal towards stock options, and I get them at a discounted rate because of that. And I'm just hold them, see what happens. I don't know, but it's definitely a different model, and it's I don't know that it's for everybody, but like if you're an agent who likes the independence and stuff like that, or if you can find a team that works like this, where these are new agents who still needed help, and I'm just happy to help. It's one of those things to a fault.
You're giving them another option.
Yeah. So you can have all of it,
Yeah,
have your
because
cake and eat it
the
too.
way the teams work, the typical teams in EXP seem very similar to other models I've heard of in other name companies.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. I had no intentions of starting a team. There was no budget for a team. I started a team as a loophole. Again, don't tell EXP this.
Everyone loves loopholes.
But I started this team as a loophole because I had gotten a friend of mine into real estate, and we're heading towards a closing, and all of a sudden they were like, hey, he's got to pay 20% to somebody who he's never met or spoken to. And I was like,
What I've noticed among all real estate franchises, maybe all this model franchise, and I'm not going to name names, but
Yeah.
the model that is like I'll just call them 90%ers. Do most of the work on your own, be your own boss, and deal with your own money.
Yeah.
But deal with your own problems too. So, but it seems like everybody just kind of like they like take a version of it. Like in my opinion, a company showed up. They're only here on Long Island, but they kind of changed the model of Remax and they made it cheaper.
Okay.
So like similar idea and just changed it. Okay, it's like I don't know. It's a lot like I don't know. Common, like the lowest common denominator. But I like your take because you were the second the same exact sentiment. Like not the loophole, but like
vigilante.
Like they didn't know I never even what's your mentor's name? Don't know them.
That's not right.
Like here we have managers in every one of our offices. So here it's I can't call. I mean we call it a team. We call it Team Patchwork. But it was like I can't even. I don't like the word mentor. I don't mind the word, but it's like. If my agent has a problem or a question, like I've had agents that text.
You should be able to talk to anybody at the brokerage, though, right? Like, I mean,
you should be able to talk to anybody that has an adequate answer.
Right. Okay. Yes,
Okay.
but I'm talking about these. When I was at an actual office, there was constantly just workshops happening, and everybody's bouncing stuff off of each other and stuff.
Yeah. No. All that's
so there were
good.
always helpful agents around.
But I've always been lucky enough that every office I've ever been in, I've actually only been in one, but the one was bought out by this one here, Coral Banker, so it's like always been the same one. But always had not a mentor, but a person in charge. And my first broker, he was a real, asshole.
Okay.
But he was a cool asshole because he would like interact and he would say, I'd be at. I didn't ask a question. I would only ask a question to a supervisor capacity.
Sure.
And someone else was volunteering advice to me, and came up. He was like, and that someone else had about 2 transactions in 3 years.
Okay.
And here I am, like in my first year. I'm not bragging about myself. I am. But
Go
here
for
I am,
it.
like I had like 25 transactions in the
Jeez.
first year.
There you go.
And my first transaction didn't happen until month 7. So, and he's looking, and he's like, and I'm just a listing machine from the very beginning. Like for some reason, something clicked about listings, and it's like everyone else in the office, but me and the manager, we'd have like 25, 30, or 40 listings, and everyone else, normal. So. And he's like, look, he's like listening the whole time. This woman is giving me advice, and you know what you should do. And I'm nice. I'm just a nice person.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm not really a nice person, but I pretend to be.
You're gonna.
And I guess his main concern was that I was listening, but I don't think that was really his concern, because I think he knew me well enough that, yeah, that's fine. But I think maybe his main concern was other people might have been listening.
Sure.
And like, let me go get her advice.
Yeah.
So he looks and like, hey, Ted. How many transactions did you put together last month? So I don't know, 10. And he's like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm not mentioning names. And you, and she was like, wow, I'm still working, and like, yeah, Ted, you should really listen to her. And stop doing what you're doing.
Though.
Yeah, but anyway, I loved it. I may or may not have done different versions of the same thing. But it's like, who to listen to, and that's the problem with real estate.
You will be surprised how many times you hear different answers to the same questions in an office. Nobody apparently understands agency at all.
Don't get me started on agency.
It's out of control.
I understand agency because I've made the mistakes.
Yeah.
So I've had 20 years.
That is the thing.
I totally understand agency.
You got to get out there and make the mistakes.
I've made the mistakes.
You got to make the mistakes, otherwise you're not going to learn anything.
And they're the costliest mistakes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
But everything bounces back. Yeah. But yeah, no one knows agency.
No.
Good luck. We could eliminate 60, 70, 90% of all agents. Just take an agency quiz.
Yeah.
And we have the simplest quiz. And agency is such an easy concept.
Yeah.
If they're a family member or by contract, they have to be your buyer client.
Yeah.
And then how many times? Okay, so you have a team, so you must get some questions. But I grin more than I'm just not. I'm beyond that. There's no frustration anymore. But when someone sells their own listing, and I get that makes me a dual agent. No, I said that makes you a dumb agent. Just because you're collecting, unless they're your brother, you are not a dual agent.
And
not to mention the fact that only the broker can be a dual agent.
Right, but obviously, we all have to ask that question at some point. It's going to happen, and we all are going to have to ask.
Who does number 2 work for?
Right.
No, I'm kidding. But it's like, if you that's the other question. If you don't know who you're working for, oof.
Every one of my agents separately came to me and asked, "What the hell is an FEK?" And it's like, if they don't tell you, at some point you're going to ask a stupid question. And why is it a K? It should be a C. And fully executed contract.
Oh, I just put the K in quotes. That's what it's called. It's in K. Oh, wow. You know what? I have seen that term.
Attorneys ask for an FEK or whatever it is, or whoever's
because
asking for
for some
it.
reason the shorthand has always been K.
I guess
for a contract. It's not C.
But all 4 of them separately came to me and asked that. So
that's a pretty valid question.
It's one of those things, though.
I wouldn't mind my agent ask me that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, an agency question you're going to get mad at. I mean,
Oh wait, here's the real one. When is it a fully executed contract?
When. At the end, the title once clear.
Fully executed contract. A lot of agents call, like I've had agents give us status of their deals, because we keep tabs. We keep what's called a hopper. We make sure we know exactly what's coming in, what's going to go out.
What's the exact moment? What are you?
It's when the contracts and the consideration are. So the contracts and consideration have to be received by the seller's attorney. Right. Buyer signs. Then the seller's attorney has to send it back to the buyer's attorney. People forget that step.
No, yes, I'm sorry. I'm in a totally different part of the closing right now because I'm having a total brain fog right now.
You're at the end?
I'm not even thinking of the right thing. Yes, no, of course. When do you get it when you receive it back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I've had agents say, we're in contract. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Tell me where we are.
Yeah, sure.
I said, the seller's attorney sent out the contract. I said, oh boy, we're not in contract.
Oh my
This thing could
gosh.
still go sideways like seven different ways.
Well, that's why I'm showing until we're in full
Yeah.
contract, you know?
Yeah. No, so those are little pet peeves.
Yeah.
Well, so you're successful
I mean,
and you're good. Well, you're successful because
I'm working.
I'm telling you that I was always like that as well, and I still am. Like if I have a buyer who needs a house,
Yeah.
I'll stop. I'll go to a stranger's house and say, a buyer wants to buy this house.
I've been there. I've knocked on a door before. I know your house isn't for sale.
My
but
buyer
I've got a
says, I
buyer.
want this house.
Yeah.
You don't even know what I say to the other agent. I treat them, I treat everyone nice, but I'll say things like, you're gorgeous today. No, I'm kidding.
Are you aggressive though? Because
I have Riz. It's apparently shorthand for today's youth. That's how I have charisma.
I did know that one actually. I'm sorry.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I didn't tell you that. Am I aggressive?
My 10-year-old. No, I mean, are you? You never came off that way to me on the other side of it. You were very pleasant.
I'm
easy
much
to work
more
with.
Baby Yoda
Okay, yeah,
than Shark.
yeah, I hear you. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah, the
When you
Force.
have to be, you know,
You know what? I was
forced to be reckoned with.
It doesn't work on me. Raising my voice doesn't work on me. On me. It doesn't work for me to do it. To just get up there and say, no.
Yeah.
Guerrilla tactics on me. No one would expect me to be a gorilla. So I'm easy. And you know what? I don't sweat the small things, and almost everything is a small thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, but you got I'm not saying that I'm so amazing, but I really enjoyed the fact that you got the deal. Because then at the very end, it's like, wow, this was the dream deal. This was, I get one of these every few months. It's like easy peasy. I don't have 22 phone calls.
We were ready to close so much sooner than you guys were ready to close.
And even that didn't disrupt the deal. That could be a problem.
It went really well.
But so I'm really glad you did. But you did it with I don't know. Are you aggressive? Because I felt you did everything with a fair amount of finesse.
I don't ever feel aggressive when I'm talking to other agents. I had something recently though where I had an agent hang up on me, and it was bizarre. I had a buyer, they had a listing, we were just trying to book a showing, nobody's returning our calls, and then she was just like, it's over. And I was like, okay, well, I still have this buyer. You guys haven't done an inspection yet.
Feels like that scene in Pretty Woman where it's like, I have all this money and I can't buy a dress. It's sometimes you have a buyer that's perfect.
For whatever reason, she just wouldn't let us in the door. And I'm going to bat for my buyer, and I was insistent. I was just like, I don't think that this is right that you are turning us away. I don't think it's in your client's best interest.
They were just turning you away?
Just wouldn't let us see the house. And we submitted a couple requests to show. All of them got denied with no, whatever. And so it was just bizarre. And
so
it
you have to get
sense.
people on the rules then. The
of course. And
the real rules. Rules are, I would just make an offer and say, you have to present this offer.
I got to that
subject
point,
to seeing the inside of the house.
It was one of those things where at a point I'm going to my buyer and I'm going, hey, how badly do you want this? Because I'm about to it was bizarre. I don't understand that. We are all in this together.
I had a buyer take a bottle of wine and his pregnant wife to the front door of a seller's house, and they won their bid. But I didn't say to do that.
Yeah,
I just said, I said, he's like, what can we do? I said, I don't know. Figure it out. What would win you over?
There you go.
And apparently red wine did it.
I've had that happen where one of my buyers did something like that. I didn't know they were doing it, and they got the house because of it. And the seller never regretted anything more. The rest of the deal was just insane. I'm talking our own attorney off the ledge because it's just one of those things. You never know.
Did my seller ever meet your? No, they met your buyer at the showing, right? I never met
so
the
we
buyers, right?
We met Lou day one, and he was just fantastic right away, and everybody hit it off, and it was just one of those things where I'm standing there on the porch going, yeah, we're going to buy your house. And it was that silly. It was like, it's good that you guys got to meet because they're definitely going to buy this house. And, I did ask you to cancel the open house. So I did, I don't know if that's aggressive, but I was like, I think that may have been one of my terms.
Might have been one of your terms, but my seller had already volunteered it.
I love that.
He
Well,
was like-
I said to him even, I was like, what's it going to take for us to cancel this open house? And
You're like, I don't want to do the open house. They're so nice. I like the offer. I like the number. I'm like, okay.
I don't know if you know this, because you're not supposed to, right? So, but Lou called me personally, directly, while all of this was going on, just to let me know how much he loved my buyers.
Aw.
And just like, I just thought they were just the nicest people, and I just wanted to let you know how excited I am to work with you guys. And I was just like, oh my God, I wish everything was like this.
You know, most agents would hate that.
I know.
But you know why? Because most agents probably didn't talk to their client named Lou. That Lou was 100%.
She's great.
Did. You know, like most agents, if they did that, you would have been like, oh, really? We haven't heard back.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not sure if you're canceling the open house.
Yeah. No, it was just a delightful experience the whole way through, and I hope we get to work together a lot more. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that people should have we should have like just a nice camaraderie. Like that's why you're not part of my office or my brand. I've had
That's what I
other
was
people-
about to say.
Wait a
So
minute. I've had other people that aren't part of my brand here either, and my office. I love it. I think that that's the way it should be.
It definitely should be that way.
I have friends that are in different offices. I have non-friends that are in the same office. No, I have, so
I'll invite people from other brokerages to our morning meeting. Like I'm just if you guys can get
we
anything
have
out
an
of this.
open invitation for all
Yeah.
of our meetings.
It's
No,
great.
that's what I like about those broker open houses. That's why I'm insane with text. Like people, like I think I got 50 and 55 people at some of my open houses most recently. But like you go to the trouble to have like a cool menu or a string quartet or piano player or whatever. Just make it fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it. Like I liked that I put a name to a face of someone that I see their listing or something all the time. Their listings, whatever. It's like I think people don't take advantage of a camaraderie.
Yeah.
When I first started real estate, there was a little bit more of a community when it came to real estate agents.
Okay.
More of just like an interaction where we weren't at like $1 in your pocket is not $1 out of mine.
Yeah.
In fact, and there's plenty of dollars to go around.
Right.
Go to any strip.
We're all trying to get to the same finish line, and we need each other to get there.
Yeah.
So it's just a bizarre thing that it would ever be cutthroat or.
Yeah. It really isn't, because it's a people business, and it can't be cutthroat because at the end of the day, everyone has to feel like they won.
Yeah.
And
Meeting of the minds.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, sure, people were offering $100,000 over. Sure,
Well,
it sounded like the seller won, but you know what? You know who won? The buyer with their 2.2% interest rate.
Right. So that is an interesting thing that when you talk about the market shifting, is it was for a long time that the sellers were obviously winning because of these crazy prices, and the buyers felt like winners because they won the house, even if it's not
They were
just
getting
that
a low interest
plus
rate.
the low interest rate.
A low enough monthly payment that probably was lower than their rent.
Yeah.
So of course they felt like
Right.
winning.
So everybody feels good. And right now there's this a timid approach a little bit from
Really?
some people, where I'm finding there are people who are resistant to lists because they don't believe, where I'm going, hey, like I'm on the floor, I'm on the ground doing this. I can tell you that this is what's happening, that we're still experiencing.
Have you ever come across a seller, and one of these sellers actually has a review on Zillow, and he actually states it very clearly. I had a seller who said, well, are you just saying this number because, everyone else said $100,000 less? So, and it's online. They can go and say things that real estate agents can do that are unscrupulous. And are you just buying the listing? I said, you're paying a pretty good commission rate. Trust me, I'm not the one buying here. But and he did. They went for a premium. My commissions might be a little higher than most. But you know what? $100,000 more than the competition was telling these people.
Yeah.
And they said, listen, I'm not saying that it's that comps aren't in the area for 750, but I'm in your house. I feel this house. I feel the magic. I feel how sellable it can be.
Mm-hmm.
825 is the right number.
Wow.
A buyer bought it for 825.
Wow.
Guess what it appraised for?
At 825, I'm guessing
No,
right on the
750.
spot. Really?
Guess what a buyer bought it for? 825.
He bought it for 825.
So we found the right
Love
buyer.
That. Love that.
Yeah, and he wrote a review on it. I think it actually spells it out.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, he would have left money on the table.
Wow.
Because even at 750, the same buyer might have shown up and said, okay, I'll pay you 50 over the asking. There's 25 grand I left on the table.
That's
So
amazing.
well, anyway. So, but wait, are you coming across that? Is that what you were like trying to say? Like people that are like reluctant to say, yeah, let's go in the market for 800,000. Let's get this done.
Well, but I always advise see, the market's going to dictate the value is what they say, right? I don't agree with that, because if nobody's disclosing all the offers and people are bidding blindly, then
Well, I always say it doesn't matter what I think your house is worth because I'm not the one buying it.
right. It's like,
Yeah.
what is somebody willing to pay for it?
Right.
And if they know what they're up against, again, that strategy, then that's what it's actually worth. This is somebody who knew what they were up against and still came in at this number. That's what the house is worth, in my opinion. So I'm always advising, list on the lower side. And again, we're going to disclose everything, and we're going to have offers day one because we're listed aggressively, and it shows your motivation. It shows that we're, I'm not collecting listings here.
Oh, see, I love collecting listings.
You like collecting listings?
I'm hoarding for winter.
Yeah,
This is
sure.
bulking season.
Okay.
I'm going to be at like 100 listings before January is over.
So, you have no problem with taking something overpriced
Well,
to market. Well, and that's
when as long as my sellers are advised, oh, would you like to sell really fast? Let's pretend you should be 1.2 million. And the seller says, no, we really want to recoup our total investment. So we really want, there's no need. And so we may have a list price of 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we want 22 buyers or do we want just the one?
right.
So, all right. But you have to, they are prepared and everyone's ready for 3 months later. We're getting activity. That's fine. But obviously there's price adjustments that have to be made. So, but it has to be, it's advised, like I don't mind. I guess the word is over, some listings take longer to sell than others. Some listings take longer to find the right buyer.
Yeah.
It all depends on the seller and the seller's needs.
Sure.
But yeah, no,
It's a good example of, though, like, we're looking at totally different ways of doing
it's more
this job.
expensive my way. I'm going to tell
that's
you.
what I'm sure.
The seller
I'm
makes
sure.
more money, more than likely, but my way is really expensive.
Yeah.
Carrying costs exist for everyone when it comes to real estate. I mean, like some of these listings, everyone loves the high end, and some of these listings, it's costing over $10,000 to market some of these, and we're in it for the long haul.
Wow.
So it's like, all right,
That's
no problem.
crazy,
I just
yeah.
everyone's on the same page.
Wow.
But I do like to have listings. I've always been a very
but
big listing fan.
You're not going to generate as many leads too if it's
I only need to generate leads from one listing. So every
Sure.
so often you get a motivated seller and it's like, guys, let's do this. I have one agent. She's phenomenal. She does it. She does the comps. So she prices houses according to comps.
Okay.
When the market is slightly stagnant, declining, or even just base, if you do that, that's perfect. You're actually coming up with the exact perfect price, and it's going to be a typical transaction.
Right.
Maybe 30 or 60 days to sell, 2 to 3 months to close. Okay. But since the market has been inclining for the past 4 years,
Yeah.
she's put herself in bidding war central.
Yeah.
And she'll list a house on a Tuesday, open house it on Saturday. One of her houses I went to when she had first joined us, I signed 90 people in. I'm not even exaggerating. I could show you the sign-in sheet, and it has you're working with an agent as well. So 90
heads in
people.
the door. That's the point for
And
me.
I was outside. The line was out the door. Was around around the block, and I was just signing people in, two at a time, everybody.
Yeah.
So that's what she does. That's her strategy, and it works. And she's phenomenal. She's one of the top agents in all of Long Island right now.
Now, so if she was disclosing all of those offers to anybody who wants to know, those people know what they're bidding against. And I'm telling you, she'll be able to drive that up even higher, or at least then she's dictating terms to them. All of those things
They go for over asking.
Of course. But that's we're working hard for a weekend. It's like I usually take my mine to market on Wednesday evening. Again, same model, and by Monday, Tuesday, we're accepting an offer.
It's like you guys, it's like a sprint.
Yeah.
You guys are going so on the treadmill when I go to Orange Theory. There's like push a push pace, a base, and then a force it all out, and it's like that's when I try to hit the 10 button. So you guys are doing the all out.
That's very interesting.
I run a marathon.
That's good. It's really interesting how different that. I mean, the experience.
In the past, I've always experienced being able to generate leads.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely need one or two every so often. It's like a nice middle of the road kind of house, priced aggressively. Buyers flock to it. You get a database. You get you start
you're working that for a year.
Agents on the team. Yeah, agents on the team. I've had that one house, the first short sale that I remember ever on Long Island. I had a buyer assistant at the time, and a personal assistant who also was licensed. Had just gotten her license.
Yeah.
She wrote up 18 offers herself.
Oh my God.
My buyer assistant sold 8 other houses. And my personal assistant, I think she sold 2 other houses.
Wow.
And of course, we sold the subject house. So there's so much business that they came from that one listing. You can only do it. Like I could do it every couple months.
Yeah.
Like I could tolerate that strategy every couple months. But for the most part, I guess I'm okay to admit it.
If you also have a team that you can be sending these leads to, the buyer leads, and you're just
When did you start in real estate?
When?
What? Yeah. Like what year?
It's like 6 years ago, something around that. I'm trying to think how many times I've done my continuing education. I guess it's probably been about 6 years.
I missed the grandfathered exception, and then they took it away.
No way.
Yeah. But continuing it, I love it. I think it's great. Now the topics are new.
Yeah.
See, the first 16 years, it was always the same stuff. Yeah. Now suddenly they're introducing these. I love the unconscious bias classes.
You're actually learning something.
Yeah. Yeah, but the reason I asked is because I'm coming from a market in the very beginning and throughout. Apparently, there's a lot of emergencies going on.
Yeah.
So I'm coming from a market where, people had the typical agent, the typical top agent had 10 or 15 listings. Yeah. Carrying 10 was a norm for a listing agent. And even then I carried 40. Wow. So I've always been like, I love listings are like potato chips to me.
I'm working toward that's what I want.
And I don't mind buyers, but I'll take a buyer out once every few months.
Yeah, honestly, I'm working more so with listings than buyers. If I'm working a buyer, it's usually somebody I know. Mm-hmm. And that even our deals are some of my best friends in the world.
Yeah. So back to actually, my seller thought you were related.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Actually. Yeah.
But yeah. So you think that the market totally back to a different topic that you addressed. So I definitely obviously we were selling. I know I know my opinion. It's not the answer, but definite seller's market the past 4 years. Great 4 years.
Yeah.
I love the seller's market. And what's there not to love?
It's a blast.
And I feel then we started a transitioning market where I think the interest rates made an impact.
Sure.
The back and forth. What I noticed about the last back and forth, when they shot back up to 7, I noticed people on these lines with my agents' open houses. I'm signing people in, and they're like, "Yeah, we just started." I said, "What do you mean, just started?" And they're like, so that's what I do at open houses. I just mingle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do you mean 5 minutes ago?" They're like, "Yeah, we have an appointment with a mortgage broker at 2:00.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I'll fix that. My mortgage guy is inside." That's like, you have an appointment with a mortgage guy right now. But yeah, I was and I was just shocked at how many people were either not working with an agent yet because they were just brand new to the market. And I was like, wait a minute. So I think the last push of interest rates pushed a buyer pool that said, "Yep. I guess I'm going to do it now. It's got to do it."
You're ready when you're financially ready. Honestly, these people are buying houses because they need to buy a house.
And I found that such a promising sign.
Yeah, but a lot of the general public, when they're starting to dip their toes, a lot of them, they're either ignorant of it, like you are not watching the news.
I do not watch the news.
And that's why you're happier. Or they don't care. And also, they're still historically low. I mean,
like when a seller says, "But Ted, what if the house doesn't appraise?" I said, "Oh, then we'll just make sure we have a cash buyer."
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But people always need to buy or sell houses, and the rental market on Long Island is dumb. And so, if you have any cash that you can you're in a situation where you don't have to pay somebody else's mortgage and you can invest in your own future a little bit, those people are looking at condos and co-ops. So condos and co-ops are blowing up right now. Before we got into yours, we saw 20 condos and co-ops, and we saw the same 20 families at every single one that we went to because we're all looking for the exact same thing. And
It's like we could make a caravan.
it was crazy. But all of these people are people who would rather invest in their own future and are just done paying crazy rent on Long Island. I mean, a lot of
It is
times
crazy.
when I bought my first house, my monthly payment went down. You know, it was we've gone pretty long. We're just having such a good time. My monthly payments went down. You know, my rent was higher than my mortgage. That's crazy. And so, you know,
Amazing.
we find a way. And like, it's
So I think that's also going to drive the buyer pool. So I think we've already had our transition, and I think that it's still going to be a seller's market or a definition of a new buyer's market of sorts. But I think the seller's market is going to stay. I think. Well, what do you think? How do you think it? You've worked with more buyers
until the inventory changes? This is what it is. We're
it's
still
almost next to impossible for the inventory level to change.
Yeah. So we're still competing, and I don't see it getting better. I have one client who's considering pulling a listing and relisting in the spring, and I'm going, okay, we're gambling either way.
Well, it depends on where that client is.
Well, so okay, yeah.
Because I have a client that we're doing the same exact thing, and they know exactly the right date.
Where are they?
East End. East End has a little bit of a glut of inventory.
Okay.
The East End, like everything from like I guess Eastport on, seems to have inventory levels of unbelievable compared to today's. And on the East End, I see houses that are on the market for even years.
Yeah.
And yet there's we make a say like it's amazing. A condo goes on the market and sells in 2 weeks. So, but the East End seems to have a glut of inventory.
It's the market.
Yeah, yeah, it can. So, so for some clients that might be the smart strategy.
Are we gambling hundreds of thousands of dollars though, or is it $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000? I mean, like even this shift that's going to take place.
The gamble is. I think that my strategy with those clients is we would have to sell for 800, and I think that we'll sell for 1.2.
So it's worth it
when I turn around in February.
Okay, so in that sense, it's worth it.
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
There's always risk involved.
Sure.
There's risk and reward, and as long as the client is aware of all options,
right?
That works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be that, take off and come back.
It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, how the market's always been interesting.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. This wasn't a recruiting interview. I do like the way you do business.
Figured it was going to lead to there at some point, but
No, that would make me like such a what's that word? Like predatory.
Sure.
Oh, where does your podcast tape? Oh, it's right in my office. Oh, okay. Who else is there? Oh, it's only my broker. He's just going to sit there and talk to you. Yeah. No, that would be a completely predatory thing to do. And anything, I'm a lot of things. But
everybody's always looking for greener pastures, and it's always good to just know what's out there.
I know where the grass is greener.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
It sounds very green.
It's where you fucking water it.
Like that.
I drove by so many homes that have beautiful lawns in my neighborhood. Because when I first bought my house, my whole front lawn, the whole front of my house was all roots and oak trees and pine trees. So 3 years later, my lawn is the most beautiful lawn. Guess what? I didn't move.
Yeah.
I didn't change houses.
It's true.
I could have
put in the work.
Yeah. So, sprinklers go a long way.
Yeah.
So, but so good to have you. I'm Ted, and this is the Real Ted G podcast, and thanks for joining us. And they find us on Mike Ragosta. They can find you at EXP.
I'm at Ragosta Real Estate on Instagram, and I'm easy to find. Michael
I hope
Ragosta.
You follow me.
If I don't, we got to fix all that.
I can use the extra follower.
Yeah.
And you can find me on the Real Ted G podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.